Welcome back. You're watching The Money Show with me, Kavita Thapliyal, and that part of the show where our viewers get connected and participate in the show. There are a plethora of funds available in the market to invest your hard-earned money in, but how do you assess which is the right fund for your portfolio? What are the criteria that one should look at to help you navigate through this maze? We have on board today Kirtan Shah, founder CEO, Credence Wealth Advisors. Also, do not forget to send us your portfolio queries on our WhatsApp number, which is 865-797-4571, or you can also email us your queries on themoneyshow@etnow.tv. So that's a line. Let's move on. Kirtan, good evening and welcome to the show. And we also have our first viewer, Mr. VP Singh from Dehradun. Hi, good evening, Mr. Singh. How are you doing today?
I'm well, thank you.
Thank you so much for sending us your question. And I believe you've been investing in a large cap fund, that is Axis Large Cap, since 2017. Is that right?
Oh, yes, that's right.
Any specific reason? Because you've been investing, the corpus that you've mentioned is around 15 lakhs and return is almost 11.5%. So why do you think you want to redeem the funds and invest somewhere else? Are you not happy with the performance?
No, my query from you is that I started investing in 2017, almost about 5 years, and now my corpus is fairly large, say is about 17 lakhs, giving me a return of 11.5 CAGR. So since
Right.
this Axis Blue Chip Fund is not doing so well, do I need to redeem, invest somewhere else, or should I continue? This is my question.
Okay. What other funds do you have in your portfolio?
I have Mirai Asset Emerging Blue Chip, this Axis Blue Chip, ICICI Blue Chip, Canara Robeco Equity Hybrid, Edelweiss Balanced, and Nippon Banking and PSU Fund. Also, I have, say now, whereas earlier used to be HSBC Money Market Fund. These are the funds with me.
Any specific reason you've been invested heavily in large caps?
Yeah, I retired. I'm a retired guy, so I thought I'll take less risk and say more safety. That is the reason.
Okay, and that you think you get a lot in large cap funds. All right, your other question is you're also investing in Axis Long Term Equity and the corpus over there is 5.5 lakh. Even that you want to understand if that should be redeemed and invested somewhere else, right?
That's right.
Okay, so since you just mentioned that you're a retiree, the kind of investment you're doing in these funds, this is for the time horizon for 4 to 5 years more.
Yes, 4 to 5 years more. Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Okay.
63. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Any specific corpus in mind that you want
So
to
it's
accumulate?
this is just wealth generation. Some expenditures coming up. I've catered for that with FDs. There's no issue. I just wealth generation. That's all.
This is just wealth creation. Okay. Any risk profiling that you want us to know about you or of you? Are you an aggressive risk taker or you are slightly somewhere in between?
I'm in between. Yeah, I've got it done with
Okay.
through somebody.
Sure.
So I'm a
Okay.
medium
Okay.
risk guy.
Sure. Okay. So that gives us a lot of clarity. Thank you so much. Request you to please stay online. Okay, Kirtan. So I think a lot of details were not there, but then I think you've got a complete picture of the portfolio, mutual fund portfolio that Mr. Singh has. Heavily invested in large cap. This one question I think you want, I would request you to address first because a lot of investors do this. They cannot take much risk, and the only strategy that comes to their mind, or a lot of time that's been recommended to them, is also a complete out and out large cap strategy. By investing only in large caps, do you really mitigate risk? Or by diversifying, you actually mitigate risk, diversifying across market caps?
I think Kavita, thanks so much for having me on the show first. Kavita, I think that's a very important question that's been playing on everybody's mind since 2018. Because in 2018, when the market regulator came out with categorization of mutual funds, a lot of things changed. Originally, before 2018, when you invested in a large cap fund, the fund was largely large cap, but there was still a flexibility to move some investments in categories lower than the large cap, because there are multiple reasons why you don't want to put all your 100% money in a large cap. And in that context, if you see, since 2018, large cap funds have faced it extremely difficult to be able to even beat the index, right? Now, if you look at Mr. Singh's question, an 11.5% return on a large cap is not bad. I would seriously believe that if you're investing in large cap, your fair expectation has to be somewhere around 11 to 12%. But while we talk about large cap, I think I would really want to play the large cap space using the flexi cap category. Because for me, if you look at flexi cap category today, it is very similar in terms of investing to how large cap mutual funds were investing before 2018. So largely, though flexi cap theoretically gives the fund manager the flexibility to invest between large, mid, small, if you look at the market dynamics, largely most of these flexi cap funds are 70-75% in large cap, making flexi cap as a category pseudo large cap category, still giving the fund manager the flexibility to move between even mid cap and small cap to a small exposure, depending on what they envisage as valuation premiums between large cap, mid cap, small cap. So long story short, the way I look at it is, if you really want to invest in large cap as a space, use flexi cap as a category to invest in the large cap space, because I think still you will have 75-80% exposure to large cap, which with some flexibility with the fund manager, whether if they don't see real value in the large cap space, or they see a lot of value in the mid and the small cap space, they have the flexibility to move here and there, but still the larger focus is large cap. Kavita, I hope that answers the question.
Sure. No, that really makes sense, because most of these large cap funds are, flexi cap funds are large cap dominated, and they are heavy there. It also, as rightly explained by you, the proper kind of diversification that's there. But also, now to answer Mr. Singh's question, he is a moderate risk taker. He already has so many large caps in his portfolio. He also has a hybrid fund and also a debt fund. How do you think he should be changing? Also, even the ELSS category fund that he has. What exits would you recommend?
So, Mr. Singh, now that I have more details about your portfolio, and thanks for sharing that, I would like to highlight that, Axis as an AMC is going through a lot of changes, right? Over the last 12-18 months, there have been a lot of things that have happened within the AMC, and structurally, a lot of things have really changed in Axis's equity fund management. A lot of fund managers, their equity head actually moved on, and a completely new team has taken over. And keeping that as context, plus that you already have so much of exposure to other large cap schemes already, I would really suggest that you move out of the Axis large cap fund and diversify that money in your existing large cap schemes. Please understand, I'm not telling you this because 11.5% returns for me is not a bad return when you talk about large cap as a space, but because you already have a lot of exposure to large cap in other schemes, and there is a lot of strategic change happening in the fund management team at Axis, which in my opinion will take some time to fructify, and for us also as market participants to understand how is it really bringing and adding value, because when you see so many changes happening in the fund management team, the fund performance that you've seen in the past largely starts becoming immaterial. So that's my suggestion, and keeping the same context in mind, if you have some other ELSS schemes that you've invested in, you can get out of the Axis scheme and move your money in those other ELSS funds that you have. If not, look at diversifying this into some other ELSS schemes, Mr. Singh.
All right. So, how should he be consolidating his portfolio now? Okay. So, one thing for sure that he needs to stop investing, right? I don't know. Mr. Singh, is the investment route via SIP or lump sum?
In between some lump sums also, as I mentioned.
Okay, okay. So that needs to be stopped in the funds recommended by Kirtan. Now, Kirtan, any new additions that he should be doing or maybe increase the allocation amount?
See, I think Mirai Emerging is a good fund, but I don't think beyond a certain limit they are taking more lump sum. But I think he did mention that he had a Canara Flexi. I think he can move the funds there. And if he's looking at another, probably a large cap and a mid cap
Oh,
name,
hybrid
uh,
fund.
th- yeah, then he can move
I,
to a Kotak India Opportunity Fund.
so, yeah, Kirtan hybrid fund he has, Kenner Rebecca. Is that what
No,
you...
no, I would not suggest him to move to an hybrid fund. In that case, he should look at a Kotak India Equity Opportunity Fund, which is a good large mid fund that he can look at, and he can also look at adding a PPFAS FlexiCap fund to the portfolio.
All right. Mr. Singh, since we did not have your previous portfolio details, we've just took the details now on the show live, and Kirtan has been kind enough to, hands-on information he's able to give you and sort you out on your financial portfolio. But if in case you're still not clear, I would request you to send us your question again. But so far, whatever you've heard, you want to ask anything?
That's all. You have been so helpful, all both of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. All right, Kirtan, we move on to our next question. Vanraj Rathore, and he wants to invest 5 to 6,000 per month, and the purpose is retirement. We don't have him on the phone line with us, but then this is what he has given us. It's
Sure.
a question through email. Yeah.
Kavita, like you would know that I don't have any other details of when is he really
Exactly. Yeah.
retiring or what's his profile, etc. It's extremely difficult to make a comment. But let's say
Right.
hypothetically, assuming that we still have to give him some recommendation, I would really suggest that he should split his 6,000 rupees into two different funds. One can be ICICI Large and Mid, and another can be the same fund that I recommended to Mr. Singh as well, which is Kotak India Opportunity. Both of these funds will give him a decent exposure to large and mid. And let's say hypothetically, if he's got 10 years plus to invest for retirement and he has a slight risk appetite, he can also look at doing mid cap and small cap funds individually and independently. But let's say, assuming given the information that we have, I think he can split 3,000 rupees each in an ICICI large cap and a Kotak India Opportunity Fund.
All right. So that is the answer for Vanraj's question. Also, one thing, it's very nice for people to, I mean, once we, the kind of questions we've been getting, Kirtan, a lot of awareness regarding having retirement as one of your very important financial goal is clearly an obvious trend in the questions also. But, the tricky part is, even though it should be the first financial goal that you need to set for yourself, a lot of people are not able to do it. What all actually goes into having a goal like retirement fixed at a very late stage in your life, maybe post 40s? What all do you miss?
See, actually, Kavita, what happens is when you are late in planning any goals, technically what ends up happening is that you will then have to start allocating a larger sum to reach the same goal. Let's say hypothetically, if I have to retire at 60 and my corpus requirement is 5 crore, if I start at 25, I might just have to invest 10,000 rupees towards that goal. But if I start at 40, I might have to invest 50,000 rupees to reach the same goal. So technically what starts happening is that the later you start investing for the same goal, your requirement to reach the same number is much higher than you would have otherwise had you started early. That's one. And second, also what happens is when you are in midlife and married, you probably suddenly would start having child's education as one goal, child's marriage as another goal. So what typically happens is that at that point in time, you suddenly have to start then give priority to whatever is the lowest hanging for you and allocate more money there. The challenge here is that after you've received your income and spent for your necessities and lifestyle, then it becomes very difficult to start allocating more money to more goals, right? And in mid 40s or early 40s, you typically start having these other goals that you have to meet, which were not there in the early 20s or even in the early 30s. So I think allocating money to different newer goals that have come up then starts becoming a challenge if your income has not increased. and then you have to start compromising on your goals because you don't have enough money to invest on it today.
All right. I think we can have a longer discussion on this, but then I have other viewer queries ready with me. Kirtan, I will be taking Dipesh Patel's question. This is again an email question, and he is 35 years old. The target corpus is 5 crores in 20 years, and he wants to understand. He wants to start an SIP to achieve the target, and he wants to understand the kind of allocation that should be going in the mutual funds, and he can add 10,000 and 15,000 more in SIP. Also, he wants to do a lump sum investment of 50,000 in small chunks. That's what he says. And yeah, that's Axis Long Term Equity. He has DSP Tax Saver, India, Tata India Tax Saving Fund again, Invesco India Tax Saving, Nippon India Small Cap, SBI Small Cap. Just started, Mira Asset Emerging Blue Chip, Quant Mid Cap, Parag Parekh Flexi Cap. All right, so he's given the total corpus also that's there so far. Okay, so he wants to add more, 10 to 15,000, and also do a lump sum investment.
So Kavita, assuming that he's got 6 lakhs of investment already, plus the new investment that he wants to do, and if he needs a corpus of 5 crore in 20 years, assuming that the portfolio will be able to generate close to 12%, his actual SIP requirement is 50,000 a month, which is much higher than what he's currently doing, plus what he can add. So either he will have to start with a 50,000 rupee SIP immediately, or he can even do a step up SIP. 50,000 is something that he cannot immediately do. So he can do the maximum that he can today, which is roughly 25 to 30,000 rupees, given the data that he shared with us. So he can start with 25, 30 today, and then try and increase the SIP every year. The faster he tries and does step up, the closer he'll be able to reach the goal. But mathematically, he has to do 50,000 rupee of SIP today to be able to reach the 5 crore goal, given the 6 lakh that he's accumulated. That's more on the goal that he had shared with us. On the portfolio that he shared, he's got 9-10 funds. Theoretically or even practically, you don't really require 10 funds in your portfolio. 3, 4, 5 funds largely should be able to help you diversify well enough. So I'm going to suggest him a couple of exits in his ELSS, because he's got 4 funds in ELSS, which I don't really think he requires. So he can actually exit his DSP, Axis, and Invesco, and whatever money he accumulates, right, or the new money that he wants to invest, that actually needs to be spread across in the remaining funds in the portfolio. So if Diptesh tries and makes sure that the remaining funds in the portfolio, which are decent, is equally weighted in terms of investment, I think the portfolio is well balanced.
All right. Also, should he be looking at adding any new fund in his portfolio, or maybe that's really not needed?
I think not needed in his case. His other funds are decent funds, and only if he's able to exit these funds that I suggested and reinvest in the existing remaining funds, I think he should be able to do a good job.
Okay, I think Kirtan, that will be all. Thank you so much for taking time out and helping our viewers with their financial portfolio queries today. Thank you.